Induk, Vietnam, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau sabotaged the endorsement of a pact to salvage a multi-billion-dollar, 11-nation Pacific Rim trade deal at the last minute, surprising leaders of the other nations, including Australia's Malcolm Turnbull. But amid confusion and drama on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in Vietnam, trade ministers issued a statement saying all 11 countries had agreed to continue negotiating the Trans-Pacific Partnership and core elements of the deal had been reached, while more work to be done. The statement said a limited set of provisions from the original deal would be suspended, adding further technical work was needed on 4 areas that still needed consensus to prepare finalized text for signature. It did not say when that would happen. Mr. Trudeau failed to show up at a meeting late on Friday that was set to officially revive the agreement. There were a lot of unhappy leaders left sitting there, said an official who was in the meeting. Everyone was screwed, he said. All 11 foreign ministers of the grouping had agreed on Thursday night to revive the agreement that was rejected by U.S. President Donald Trump days after he took office. But Mr. Trudeau raised issues at the last minute that forced Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who is chair of the gathering, to announce the meeting had to be abandoned. Mr. Abe said on Saturday the talks had stalled after Canada said it could not accept a proposed basic agreement. Mr. Trudeau said after arriving in Induk that Canada would not be rushed into a deal. Mr. Turnbull has been spruiking the benefits of the TPP since arriving in Induk on Thursday, telling an APEC leaders reception the pact creates rules of the road to match the new economic world in which we're living. It aims at old hidden trade barriers like corruption and new ones like data protectionism, he said. It works to level the playing field for non-state companies and is designed to defend and extend the freedom to explore, share and capitalize on new ideas. Mr. Turnbull said the pact would bring together economies with a collective GDP of about $10 trillion. So that is a huge market, he said. Mr. Trudeau's walkout is deeply embarrassing for his trade minister Philippe Champagne, who has agreed to the deal. Officials expected that the leaders would simply rubber stamp what had already been agreed by the trade ministers, despite the agreement being unpopular in Canada. Australian Trade Minister Stephen Siobo said it was disappointing the leaders' meeting had to be cancelled. He said what the ministers had agreed on was a very high-quality deal, one that maintained high standards and would have seen benefits flowing to the countries. Mr. Siobo said despite the setback the 10 other countries would need to consider the issues raised by Canada. But no further negotiations or meetings are planned. The agreement negotiated over more than a year would deliver 19 new free trade agreements among the 11 countries. For Australia the pact would open new trade agreements with Canada and Mexico and provide greater market access to Japan, Chile, Singapore, Malaysia, Vietnam and Brunei.